Is game number 2. A Cthulhu font first pick, not banned. Parasite, Doctor, Ophelia, and Rhapsody, the bands actually. We get Cthulhu font into Swiftblade. There's the Empath response for Willowkeeper. Kraken into Pharaoh. And then Tempest to finish things off. But we are going to see the elephant here on Willowkeeper.
Yeah, definitely. And Zinc again, though, they actually picked up the Swiftblade that was banned last game, but instead Rhapsody and Ophelia taken out from Fusen, so Swiftblade is on the board, but still the team fight potential is there for Zinc. Again, as mentioned before, the Tempest and Kraken, not to be underestimated, can offer so much team fight. Maybe a little less push in game 2, but still the team fight is definitely there for Zinc.
Well, yeah, I mean, this ain't going to be, that crazy push, but it is going to be a Swiftblade game. And we all know about Swiftblade and what his potential is, what he can do, especially in the hands of Sync Esports. I mean, you might think Flensmeyer should be the one to play. No, KZ on a suicide roll usually is the one that plays it actually for them. And I believe he's only lost one game in total with it. I think Quincy could clarify that, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that record and, only one loss, maybe 2 at the most. But, yeah, he knows what he's doing and does it. It's impressive to watch, especially being a suicide hero in general. So, but again, speaking of suicide heroes, Cthulhu Fun has that potential. It doesn't necessarily need to be suicide. I mean, they do have a Pharaoh here as well. So, intrigued to see if maybe it's going to be a jungle Cthulhu Fun, in fact. With that here, would that be out of the question? You think, or
What did you say, sorry?
jungle Cthulhu Fun possibly?
It's definitely a possibility, but I mean, Tree, they don't really like to run jungle in the first place, and I think Cthulhu is better matched up in the suicide lane. It's definitely a possibility, as I said, but I don't think that's what we're going to see here today.
Yeah. You got Keeper, Behemoth, Warbeast, Magnus, Glacius, Boom. Man, look at those bands for Willowkeeper, though. Keeper and Warbeast. They're like making sure. We do not want to deal with that again, yeah. Again, with the draft initially, maybe it wouldn't be as crazy, but still. Any idea of that, they just don't want to have it. So, I hope Alphagor is still on the table, just saying. Glacius, the final ban. Wild Soul, yeah, they banned Wild Soul last game, that's true. I mean, Wild Soul, it kind of made more sense. They clearly knew what Sync was going for with that push. And I guess Wild Soul definitely is very good for that
Kaizu as well. Since Kaizu's playing.
That's true. So,
but yeah, I mean, at the same time, obviously, Tree, it must be like almost really quite demoralising, obviously, to be that far ahead and then to lose. But at the same time, to be that far ahead, and it sort of shows that you definitely have the potential to win games and take games off of Zinc. Like I said it before, Tree, if they're playing their best, they can easily beat Zinc without a doubt. But it really depends in the last couple of moments that can they hold their nerve, can they like not buckle under the pressure. In game 1, arguably they did. Obviously, a few pickoffs here and there did cause the game 1 to be victorious for Zinc. And also, it takes even more greater of sort of tenacity and character to carry on through into game 2, even though you lost game 1 when you arguably should have won it. So we'll have to see what kind of Tree we see here in game 2.
Yeah, it definitely going to tell us a lot of information. These top tier teams that have been throughout Hans history, the Fanatics, the Stay Greens, the Lions, aka BMGs, and now the Sync Esports. I mean, there's one thing that you could say across the board for all those teams. Maybe other than Fnatic. Fanatics just seem like they were always on top, but every other team was a case of they've had to go through the perseverance. They've had to go on the uphill climbs in terms of they actually were down in series or down in games, and they come back to win it. So if you're going to be on top of the scene, you most certainly have to be able to do that to get there. So Pearl coming out. It's been a while since we've seen Pearl, but again, Flensmeister Pearl definitely coming to my head right here as far as what we could possibly see. I mean, just because it's a Pearl doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a support Pearl.
No, it can definitely play in the short lane. And again, it's just adding to the increased team fight potential here that Zinc have. And why not? Obviously, it worked in game 1. Why not continue it in game 2? It really depends on Tree to really try and counter the strategy here for Zinc that have just been all-out team fight, all-out push. Obviously, maybe not as much push in this game, but some kind of late game potential with Switchblade as well. But arguably the stronger team fight here in game 2 as well, though.
Yeah. They're thinking about this final pick. You see Geomancer being right-clicked amongst several others. So what will it end up being? Of course, the Valkyrie pick up on top of that. They, too, have been known to play a little bit of Valkyrie recently. You got the only 11 games with all hell Pearls, even less, only 4 games we've actually seen this hero. And I want to say the majority of that was probably even Carnage Calder. I don't even know if he's actually been in Han Tour. I don't know if Pearl's been played in Han Tour, to be frank. Quincy can confirm that or not, but Anyways, point being, we have seen the potential of her as far as initiation goes. I mean, it gets the early on portal key and likes to be able to jump in, use that whirl bubble of hers to push them into a bad position, and has the preservation as far as team presence goes as well. So, Silhouette coming out here.
It's going to be Jungle Cthulhu then.
The final pick, yeah. So that leaves Jungle Cthulhu most likely to be the case
well,
here.
Even pulling, they might even pull the jungle or pull the lane creeps and then go from there. But
probably, yeah.
Maybe not though, because obviously Cthulhu can jungle without that. But we'll have to see.
Final pick for Sync now. Again, this will give us some good information what that Pearl is ultimately going to be here. I mean, I wonder, can it be a support? Is support Pearl actually a thing?
It's not that bad, but it's just trying to find the place to lane. Obviously, isn't the greatest of laning phase. Obviously, doesn't have a sort of set stun, and obviously the wall bubble can sometimes sort of screw up any combinations you might have with another hero like Kraken, for example. But it can definitely work. Obviously, it does quite a lot of burst damage actually, something that's kind of a little bit underrated from the hero. But we talk about Wild Soul, and I guess we're going to see it here. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Hashtag for the viewers apparently. Yeah, because Wild Soul's a really entertaining hero. Thanks, guys. Yeah, for those that been around Honcast and Hon competitive for a while specifically, I mean, they know Wild Soul has had its days. I mean, Zai's Wild Soul specifically he won the MVP a couple years back, and it was mainly because of Wild Soul and his play on that. Not the most entertaining hero in the world, but he wins games in the right hands, and so it's understandable to be played here. But yeah, that does mean it's going to be a support Pearl. I mean, there's a lot of things. Not only the Wild Soul, it's going to be played by KZ, but that means Swift Play is going to be played by Flensmeister. We were talking about that. How that's actually rare nowadays. Usually it's played by KZ by them. And then you got Pearl is going to be a main support played by Insania here. So as you were putting it, he doesn't necessarily have a set stun. Doesn't have a stun, frankly. He has that Whirl Bubble. Can be awkward, though. Asphyxiation, I was actually looking at that, the Asphyxiate, and how it removes buffs, and I was thinking to myself, does that actually remove the Hook'em buff? Because if it does...
I think it dispels Dream of Madness as well, actually.
If that's the case, that's actually a pretty damn good pickup then, the more I'm thinking about it. Because that's basically like a free Nullfire Blade. I mean, obviously without a lot of the damage and everything, but it's the Purge effect, which is the important part.
Yeah, it will definitely be a big pickup here, but I think what they're going to do actually instead is they're going to actually put him in the short lane, which I think is the most that makes the most sense, because obviously he isn't the greatest of laners, needs those kind of early levels which they can get from the pool. I mean, I would like to see Tree try and man up here, because obviously they've got very greedy lineups. You know, they've got Pearl, not the greatest of laning support. They've got obviously Tempest, quite a greedy jungler, and at the same time obviously they've got the Wild Soul as well. So a lot of greed here for Zinc, but at the same time, their team fight and sort of pushing potential is not to be understated. Again,
yeah.
You said hashtag for the viewers, but I mean, it's we've got a Tree to sort of root for, you know. They're the underdogs in this.
Yeah, of course. That's safe to say. You know, not biased casting by any means, but hey, for the sake of the series, for the sake of the spectators, we'd love to see a Game 3 as always, but. Yeah, Sync clearly they got to be feeling very good also after that first game victory, the way it happened and everything. So, but we definitely got a fun one here though, in the sense that maybe Wild Soul not the most entertaining, but he is different nonetheless. We got a Pearl support Pearl especially, which again I wouldn't be surprised if it is the first time we've seen actually a support Pearl, and it is the first time we've seen her in Honshu Season 3. Yeah, as Quincy confirmed there, he was actually played in CICA for those 4 games previously. So. Even a little bit of that, but yeah, I would really be because again, if that Asphyxiate removes like the Hook'em and even the Dream of Madness, as you were saying, then that's honestly a very, very strong tool, a very smart pickup by Sync in that sense. And we know how Cthulhu Fonsina is just this god tier hero nowadays on the scene. Maybe that's a little bit of Sync doing their research and finding an answer for that possible potential there. But top lane, you see Valkyrie and Pearl going at it quite a bit. Boxy playing the Valkyrie. But standing his ground, not letting Pearl box him out too much. And, of course, the good old Wild Soul pull happening. As he's using the boo-boo right there. So Silhouette having fun with that. But Balthazar, as usual, against any Wild Soul, or against those long lane pullers in general, very frustrating to play against. Valkyrie might be in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have a leap, actually. Okay, he levels it up right there. Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't have it yet, but he is level 2, so. Waiting to see if he needed it or not. And that he did, so. How about this middle matchup, though? Kraken versus Pharaoh. Not your often middle matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Kraken should win that simply because obviously the splash attack, so he can harass and get easy last hits every single time. Expect Pharaoh to almost win the matchup if there's a rotating character from Empath and Cthulhu, or even maybe gets level 6 and then starts running from there. But in that matchup, I mean, Kraken should win like 9 times out of 10, so we'll have to see if that's the case. I mean, he's already winning now, just slightly actually. Well, Kraken is a front, but there's a lot of creeps coming up in terms of mid-game, so expect that to go eventually in Kraken's way actually. Silhouette take a lot of damage actually, tanking all these creeps down here bottom lane. I guess that goes back to the annoyance of Wild Soul.
Yep. Empath applying the support role to its finest, though, giving her the health potion, and Fuson doing his job right there in that sense. Hey, look at that right there. I guess they have matched up before. And in the middle lane here, Kraken happens to have a 3-2 advantage over Pharaoh, but again, only 5 games. And Kraken is the most comfortable hero, though, right now. Also, looking at the stats, 86.4% win percentage in 22 games. For Sync Esports, and usually more so than not. Again, it goes back to the fact that they just love this hero and think it is one of the, if not the best hero all around on the scene right now. But gotta keep an eye on Keizu as far as that GPM and overall farm for him. And again, look at this pull he has, man. This is a double creep wave here, all the way to the secondary tower. And his boob is actually getting a low right here. Now he does have the res, and early on it's not the biggest deal, I guess, but still, he is gonna lose. What it looks like, doesn't really care. Spawn another, and good to go, is what that comes down to. But unless something has drastically changed, I mean, this is one of the most certain things I think you can say as far as item build goes. Mocker Brilliance on Boo is going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But one thing that KZ does like to do, he likes to get boots, even Ghost Marches on Boo Boo before he does rush the Mocker Brilliance. You just said it, and I was like,
what did I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he likes to go boots, or at least Ghost Marches on the bear before he goes the Mocker Brilliance. Actually, the arrow did hit actually on Pearl top lane, but not going to be too much. I saw Insane actually run down middle lane. I don't actually know why. He ran down middle lane. Maybe he knew that he couldn't actually out-harass Boxy, so he then tried to have some kind of rotation in the middle lane, but still only level 1, and this is kind of a big deal, though, because Pearl is a very dangerous hero, but without level, she doesn't really offer too much compared to, say, like a Glacius, like with a set stun, as we mentioned before. She needs those early levels to really have kind of an impact. And only level 1, actually, it's definitely something to be noted here in Game 2.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Right now has a Whirl Bubble, or Asphyxiating, it doesn't even have a Whirl, has Asphyxiating. Look, there's the Whirl Bubble, speaking of that. There's a Leap, and, more than fine. So, again, well, the Creeper at least hits level 2, but, yeah, definitely needs those levels ASAP, because even their Soothing Presence is a very powerful tool. To be able to use. Speaking of like push kind of lives, not that they have that here, but for when they eventually start pushing, with the Wild Soul, that's inevitable, especially that on top of a Tempest. Soothing Presence will be a powerful tool to assist with, on top of course, the preservation on it all. But yeah, needs those levels in the first place to be able to accomplish that. Speaking of that, though, you got to give credit to Boxy at the same time. On his Valkyrie, this is another one of those kind of just funky heroes that he likes to play, but very comfortable with it, and he's doing a great job up here. He's avoided a lot of kill attempts up here, and he's actually managing 217 gold per minute. In fact, putting some good damage out right here. He has a TP coming in. Yeah, he has the arrow good to go.
If Pharaoh's in.
He's going for Swiftblade. No, it's not going to hit. He went he went for the other target.
Yeah, Boxy is kind of like dominating this top matchup because although obviously he hasn't got the greatest farm, look at Flensmeister's farm. Like, he has really actually put a lot of pressure onto Flensmeister. And this just goes back to obviously Pearl not being the greatest of laners. Obviously Boxy has had a lot of room to really put his foot into this lane and really have an impact actually. And as a result, Flensmeister's farm is actually lower than Boxy. So 2v1, Boxy kind of doing very, very well actually. Quite surprising here.
Bottom lane, Silhouette being pressured out by Boo Boo.
Oh. Tempest coming over the top
back
lane.
to the top lane. Tempest coming and has an ultimate, but no, Boxy just too quick, man. He leaps away. If he didn't leap in time, we're probably going to see an ultimate come out there from Slap. So good timing on his part, and again, stays alive, and again, doing enough, doing great. Look at the levels across the board here on the Legion side especially. It's 6, 6, 6, 6. Then you got a level 3 Empath. So yeah, very consistency over here on the Legion side as far as their levels are concerned, at least. Going to have a bunch of pauses there. Pushing the top tower, though.
Yeah, here comes the push, though. Yeah, top lane. This tier 1 is most likely going to fall. There's no way Tree can really rotate over. I mean, the only person that could rotate over was Pharaoh, but they'd need at least 3, if not 4, to really sort of stop the push. Because obviously Tempest is level 6. Flensmeister isn't level 6 either, though. So There could be a rotation, but I just don't think there will be. Like, they don't want to sort of stop their farm, just sort of stop a tier 1 that's eventually going to go down. So they're going to most likely let this tier 1 go down and then maybe rotate for the tier 2 if Zinc decides to push on.
Yeah. You see, putting some good pressure on the tower. Not going to be enough for the kill, though. They got another creep wave coming, though, so if they did finish off the other creep wave coming up from the Legion side, so this should be a tower kill. It's just a matter of can Boxy actually somehow deny it. Yeah, he does have Cthulhu now here, so they're not going to give it up easy, if anything. There's an attempt. No, and vulnerability comes in, actually. Cthulhu kind of getting caught out right here. Spin doing plenty of damage. Kraken. The wall off, though, from Empath coming out. They're trying to block Kraken a little bit right there, and ultimately stays alive. They also did deny the tower, by the way. And now here comes Pharaoh. Catches Kraken in the balls. The release of Kraken going to be as Kraken falls out. Bloodlust kill. Finally coming out 7 minutes into the game, and the chase continues to trample. It does hit Swiftblade, and now Swiftblade goes down the Thames a limit, but it was too late. It's a level 3 Pearl to follow up. Nothing going to be coming from her. Zlap is going to fall, and it works out beautifully for Willowkeeper. I'm pretty sure everything just went perfect for them there.
It did, yeah. And again, though, this goes back to obviously Wild, so you can't really get involved, obviously, like a really weak hero in terms of when he gets the Mortal Brilliance. But again, like Tree, great rotation over. They did obviously lose the tier 1, but it's not the biggest of deals. Like, those 3 kills are so important, obviously, getting the kill onto Tempest. And look at Swiftblade's farm now, only 209 GPM. And compared to, say, Boxy's, who was 1v2, 320 GPM.
Yeah.
Again, though, Tree having a great start, but can they hold on is the question, obviously. They had a great start in game 1, but they eventually did pull it off. They need to obviously keep their heads calm. Obviously, they're in a good position now, but they don't need to get ahead of themselves.
I mean, there's definitely, of course, the differences as always in the matches, but I think the biggest one that I'm kind of noticing here is that game 1, yes, they had a big lead, but a lot of it was on Silhouette. The supporting cast, everyone else was kind of a little bit behind. This is just an even spread throughout the top 4 heroes. In fact, Valkyrie actually happens to be the top farmer on his team at least. Now, with that said, Kraken is top overall, 350 gold per minute. So despite that whole situation not going their best, Mickey has been having an overall very good time here in the middle lane. Hell, even with a death, he's even 0-1-0, he's managing 364 gold per minute. So that means his creep farm is actually very good. And yeah, you look at that compared to Pharaoh, man. He is dominating that middle matchup. I mean, I know you called that he should win that matchup with a splash, but I didn't think it'd be this one-sided, honestly. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Pharaoh obviously did rotate over. He's got 3 kills to his name compared to actually 1 death on Kraken. So, okay, yeah, obviously Kraken has got the better farm, but in terms of impact, I mean, you could arguably say Pharaoh has had more impact in that respect, but at the same time, Kraken can't really rotate over, actually. Before I go too into it, Valkyrie might be in trouble top lane.
Yeah, Valkyrie has that leap, just trying to time it. Tempest now coming in with the stun, gets it off, and now Valkyrie in trouble. Swim Slash is going to be used as well. He can't do anything about that, just trying to go the other way. Whirl Bubble pushes there. Yeah, that's kind of a dangerous thing with Whirl Bubble. Almost help in certain cases, but no, it sets up the kill on Valkyrie in the end. So good commitment to that. Yeah, Tempest with the cutoff. That's exactly what they expected to happen, and sure enough, it did. So Boxy, one of many attempts, finally does fall right there. That is his first death, right? Yeah, it is his first death, again, of many attempts. So overall, still good for him, but still a kill for Sync. Especially when Flensmeister's involved with the start that he's had. Very good news. Bottom tower, they were pressuring it a little bit, but see Wildside doing enough, and God, this skid, man, it's just so funky. This is a big robot now. Freaking Transformers on the scene all of a sudden, and that's a fun thing about Wildside, though. Again, he has 3 minor totems, and he has 1,200 life. Does Ultiform OP. But
and the problem here, actually, for Tree is that, okay, obviously they want to sort of survive. They don't want us to get picked off by the team fight here from Tree, but at the same time, the late game here for Zinc is actually very, very dangerous. Obviously, they've got great team fight, and they could definitely start pressuring towers, you know, quite early on, actually, but at the same time, they've got Wildside, they've obviously got Kraken, they've got Swiftblade, and they've got Tempest. A lot of late game potential here. Compared to, say Tree, that have, you know, they've got the Silhouette and they've got the Valkyrie, but I mean, it's not going to be enough. Talking of Valkyrie, actually, he might be in trouble.
Yeah, leaps again, but he leaps right where they want him to. The setups here from Sync are definitely working out very well. They're going to ultimately lock him down once again. And sure, it took a release of Kraken, but again, they get the kill, so it's what matters there. So, yeah, they're doing a good job now of really planning that leap. And it's almost like if you're Boxy here, yeah, it's happened twice now. Maybe, you know, look to use that leap, perhaps a little bit different positioning, or figure that's going to be the case and try to maybe use it the other way, but...
Yeah, or just don't lane top. Like that's been 2 deaths though. You could start trying gank maybe middle lane, bottom lane. Like there has been no pressure on Wildside, and obviously Wildside like quite an easy hero to actually dive and gank. Obviously doesn't have the, you know, any kind of escape mechanism. Or it's quite tanky obviously, but At the same time, they might be able to burst him down if they feel actually necessary. But there has been 2 deaths actually on box here. Now that actually has reduced the deficit by quite a bit. Only 500 gold now lead for Tree. And seeing as they're going against a Wild Soul and a lot of teamfight potential here, 500 gold lead is just not enough to really make an impact in this game. Here comes the arrow though.
Oh, dust. I mean, Farrell was going in almost like trying to push him into the arrow, trying to help him out. In fact, if he mummy walled right there, might have pushed him into it. That would have been pretty fun to see. But
that would be cool.
In the end, Krakeny avoids it, and then he charges away to prevent any follow-up. But yeah, I gotta agree with what you were saying earlier, how Silhouette sure late game carry and definitely off to a solid start, but right now, it's the more threatening is definitely got to be Sync. And Wild Soul, as usual, you know, he's not having the highest GPM early on. But again, this is Wild Soul. I know we don't see him a whole often nowadays, but this is normal. 250 gold per minute. It's not like that's low by any means. A Suicide Wild Soul, it will start picking up, specifically when that Mocker Lens kicks in, and it gets crazy from there. He does go the Ghost Marcher, as you mentioned that. This is KZ's flavor here. This isn't the go-to build by any means on a lot of Wild Soul players, but he likes to get the Ghost Marches. He also gets boots on himself. So that, I mean, you look at that right there. That's 2,000 gold he's invested on other things other than the Mocker Brilliance alone. So, you know, it's debatable whether or not that is ultimately the best choice, but for comfort factor and for what he believes is best, he does go that. But Valkyrie, oh, he ran right into a death trap. It's a tarp. And unfortunately gets picked off. Tempest Ultimate and Swift Slash is used, but right on top of him.
Yeah, and as I said, I think maybe he should just sort of leave the top lane. There's too much pressure and too much, honestly, sort of danger to stay up there. Obviously, he's got the Tempest Ultimate, he's got like the Pole and the Swift Blade. And all 3 kills actually from Zink have just come from Boxy. So, yeah, I mean, he had a great start of the lane, really did pressure sort of Flensmeister in the top lane, made sure his GPM was quite low, but there comes a time where you just got to cut the losses, or just take the advantage you had. Don't try and push it, because at the moment those 3 deaths on box here has definitely been the reason of how Zink have got back into the game, seeing as they were at 2,000 golden experience down, and they definitely do need to sort of shape up.
Whoa, Silhouette running middle lane and dead, just like that. I saw her coming up, and you look at the mini-map, they're clearly setting up for a middle, but how about that reaction from Mickey? Saw her coming over because of this Warder Sight right there, and before Silhouette could even react, the double damage Kraken jumped her, the perfect charge, and she's dead in a split second. And all of a sudden, this whole middle initiation, now they're still going to go for it. Cthulhu goes in. This is a big risk, though, with Silhouette already being picked off. I don't know about that. The charge was kind of awkward right there, but yeah, no follow-up. And that'll be that. So, Willowkeeper again. What was a very good leader earlier on is starting to fall apart here as Sync is now pushing the issue. 1,500 gold lead, 3,000 experience lead plus. So Swiftblade falling back before he gets caught at the top lane. But I mean, the gold per minute chart, I mean, this is just a very even across the board still as far as overall farm is concerned. So nobody really overtaking this game by any means at this point. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised. I was actually going to say I'm glad Quincy just brought up the stat, but Baltazar, just one of the better carries on the scene nowadays, and his GPM usually high up there, and again, clearly Silhouette was a comfort hero for him. Now he was 3-0 before last game. Ended up losing with it, but yeah, 330 gold per minute is going to cut it. 400 below 400, he's 0-13, and below 450, he's 3-17. So the hero needs farm, is simply put on Silhouette. And he's not really getting there just yet, only at 350 gold per minute, so still has some room to make up. But I was going to say, I'm a little surprised at that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he had kind of a hard lane, though, like, because although he was kind of just last-hitting creeps, like, the pull that KZ was doing was really, really annoying, though, because obviously he has to tank the creeps, at the tower. You're not the easiest sort of last hit, so his last hits, not too bad, 107, actually the highest in the game compared to, say, Tempest, but again, obviously, not the easiest. Obviously, he has died, hasn't been involved in any kills or assists either. So, like I said, I mean, if he has, if he has no deaths, then maybe a kill or 2. Then that's like 400, 450 GPM right there. But in the end, not going too well for him. And obviously, the later this goes on as well, it's not going to get any better, I don't think. Because if you look actually every hero here, every single hero here for Zink, like they can actually transition to the late game and quite a threatening force. You got Wild, so you got Tempest, you got Swiftblade, and you got Kraken for the superior stun as well. And for Tree, like Valkyrie, yeah, he can sort of transition to the late game, but he needs a lot of farm to be useful. Pharaoh drops off quite a bit. Cthulhu not too bad, but compared to that, to say like a Tempest, I'm going to pick Tempest every single day. So it's like the draft in this respect. It just seems that Zinc again just outmatched Tree unless something can happen in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But again, Zinc just looking clearly on top.
Yeah, playing very, very well, as you would expect. Once again here, up 1-0 now in this best-of-3 series in the winter bracket finals. And trying to push on into the grand finals yet again. And obviously this would be the third cycle straight where not only they get to the grand finals, but making it from the winner's bracket. And, well, the first 2 cycles ended up very good for them, understandably so. So they're trying to make it 3 in a row. Yeah, we have a case here of Willowkeeper in their way, trying to prevent that. So, top lane, at the top lane. Swiftblade gets caught by the arrow. Cthulhu with the follow-up, and it is going to be a kill out of him. The response, Kraken comes in, but just a little bit too late. Obviously, maybe not actually. The portal key going in. Cthulhu's caught. He was trying to TP, but it's not to be. And he turns into a baby and cries about it. So SmackDown kill coming out from Mickey. He's now 3-1-0. He's had a huge presence here with that portal key. Middle lane in the meantime. As now we got to catch on a Pearl. Tempest comes in. He has an ultimate, but he gets pushed back with the Mummy Walls. He still has an ultimate, though. The Hellfire, no, it's going to go off right there. It's going to be a full duration. Silhouette jumps in, though, with the tree grapple. Down goes Pearl. 5-second arrow on a Tempest. And Tempest also going to fall. So it was there just simply for team support. All of a sudden, big victory for Willowkeeper. And putting a lot of pressure on this tower now. So they killed Boo Boo also in the process, actually. And Wildsoul's very low on life, so he needs to be very careful in his situation. He got Kraken charging away off to the side. Not going to be a tower kill, though, as a TP comes in from Swiftblade. He's chasing. He has no slashes. I don't know if he's going to find that target, though. As well, maybe he will, actually. He's going to use it right here. Yep, Valkyrie's going to die. And the kill does happen to end things off. So at least they get a kill to end it. But Willowkeeper actually making something. That was without Silhouette. That's no two.
But again, though, obviously Zinc just showing like their team fight presence is still there, even though obviously Wildsoul isn't really offering too much in terms until he gets his Mocha Brilliance. Imagine what can happen when he does get that Mocha Brilliance as well. Silhouette does have the Null Stone, however, obviously Cthulhu's got his Portal Key as well, but they just feel like they need more to really threaten Zinc at the moment. I think Zinc just feel fine seeing as how the game is going. They actually are in top now. The tilt on mid is still standing. Maybe it will change when Silhouette picks up his Portal Key and more ganks starts happening, maybe with the Valkyrie Prism and the Portal Key from Cthulhu and obviously the Wrath of the Pharaoh as well. Tier 1 mid might actually drop, actually.
That is going to drop, and it's going to be denied. So that big of a no right there. In fact, a good job by Kraken. You have a heads up to be able to deny that. A lot of teammates even being there. He has a puzzle box, by the way, on Pharaoh. That on top of the plated Grease and power supply is just plenty of build up here, even the bottle thrown in there. Tower middle is going to fall. Well, yeah, something else to note about the Mocha Brilliance is not only it's a great farming tool, it's a great team fighting tool because it's just how much damage the barrel will do now, both in the AoE and single target. But also it's a portal key stopper. And now, I will say the Legion team, they got a couple heroes such as Pharaoh and even Valkyrie are not necessarily concerned about that. Of course, they're not going to get portal keys. But Cthulhu already has one, and you can expect Silhouette is going to get one as well. So that's something to keep in mind as the game picks up here. That Mocha Brilliance can be very annoying dealing with that, trying to use that portal key effectively. So middle push coming out from Sync right here. Not everyone here, though. I don't know if they're going to go all the way by any means. But at least farming a little bit of it before they're forced to fall back. Because in the meantime, Silhouette is pushing the bottom tower. She does have her portal key, so it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a base trade here, or somewhat of a tower trade even, coming out. Cthulhu on the uphill, though. He has a portal key. He's ready to jump. It's just a matter of will he get the follow-up. Doesn't look like it. Oh, he wants it, though, still. Root of Z going crazy. Pharaoh with the follow-up. Tempest is going to be caught. World Bubbles away, but the Mummy Walls are up. The spin right on time to play. Look at the preservation coming out. Tempest is now inside it. Down goes Pharaoh. Kraken joining the party. Kraken getting caught. He charges away. Swift Slash is coming out as well. And down are 2 targets on the Legion side all of a sudden. Silhouette has to portal key out of there as Empath is inside. But, yeah, that was not going to happen. Valkyrie also trying to get out, but she hung around a little bit too long. She was spotted by the creep that whole time. So they had vision. Well, I mean, I love the idea of getting aggressive, as always, but clearly that was not a fight to take right there.
Yeah, in case it was just pushing top ult, meanwhile, actually does take the tier 2 top. And he might actually have the Mocha Brilliance very, very shortly as well, actually. Needs about 200 or 300 more, actually, but that tier 2 mid as well is most likely going to tip him over the edge. And he needs a few more creeps, which is going to get him in the bottom lane. And that's when he gets incredibly scary. When he has that Mocha Brilliance, which he does have enough money for now, actually, now Tree are in a very, very bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest part there is the fact that Casey was just simply pushing while that was all happening. He has a Mocha Brilliance. There you go. He right-clicks it, going to be delivered. And, hell, they're doing Kogoro even without it, but he's getting that Mach delivered, and I wouldn't be surprised if he also heads over there to assist with this kill. But you do look at Willowkeeper. They're not going to let this go for free. At least they're kind of heading over in the direction. Yeah, they have the idea that it's going on. And there's the Pharaoh Rocket to make it certain. In fact, Kraken doesn't want to waste any time. He goes in right away. The Mummy Walls are up once again. This didn't work out last time. Will it work out this time? Cthulhu on charge. Silhouette in there as well. They do get the one kill. Actually, Pearl and Kraken are dead. But here's Wild Soul with that Mocker Brilliance, and it's doing plenty. Cthulhu finishes off Tempest, but it does come at a cost as he goes down. There was a buyback on a Kraken, by the way, looking to chase them back. Empath in trouble. Valkyrie gets caught. The splash auto attack, so much damage. Empath falls. Kraken trying to stay in range, but Valkyrie's just far enough. Never mind. He ends up going down, and guess what? Mocker Brilliance, the reason for that. So, again, they went in very early right there. In fact, Silhouette, dodges a charge, but he's not out of the woods just yet. Literally, he's trying to. It looks like he will ultimately be fine, but they went into the genocide, and they actually nearly got it. I'm sure they're going to go back to Congo, though, and look to finish him off. So, again, it was a good start for Tree, but the better finish for Sync.
Yeah, and like Pearl and Kraken and Tempest, they got too much AoE synergy. Like Tree got a perfect initiation actually. Caught Tempest and I think it was Pearl actually, and then obviously the follow-up from Silhouette, but just not enough to really make a difference in these team fights. And again, Zinc do come out with top. They're going to take Conqueror as well now. Most likely going to give it to. They might even give it to Kraken actually, but I mean, they're going to give it to Super. That's probably the safest option to have. And now he's most likely they can start going high ground now actually. Especially with obviously the Wild Soul does have the Mocha Brilliance on the bear as well, so they've been doing tons of damage. And I don't know how a trio are actually going to stop them.
Yeah, it goes back to, again, kind of like last. This is where it's going to start turning around like
Valkyrie.
last game. It's all of a sudden this push is going to start happening. Yeah, Valkyrie doesn't stand a chance. He even used a prison, but it didn't work in time, and before you know it, he's dead. So, but it's not the heal-centric armor up, buff up lineup as far as that push was concerned last game, but it's that we got some big minions to lead the way, specifically that Boo Boo. Of course, with Wild Soul's control, and that's where it's just how do you stop that if you're this Legion team? And unlike last game, they don't really have as nearly as powerful counter push as they did. I mean, yeah, Rocket's nice, and I call it back. I guess they do have several abilities, but like last game, they had like the Master of Arms, and
exactly.
They don't have that
No,
this game.
I mean, Call the Valkyrie isn't really. I wouldn't call it a counter push, though, because she has to be like inside the creeper for it to be useful, and Mickey's just going to take advantage of that and just initiate on Valkyrie. So the only kind of counter push really they have is the Pharaoh Rocket, and like you said, game one was a lot better sort of counter push, but here comes the Zinc push. Actually, they're going to go high ground and treat if they can't give up this Rax. I know it's stating the obvious, but they just can't give it up. They've got to try something. They need some kind of miracle here if they want to win this team fight.
Yeah. That token of life on Swiftblade, so he's feeling ballsy as he should be. This melee Rax going to start dropping now. There we go. Pharaoh jumps in the background on a Pearl. Arrow's going to come out as well. It's going to be dodged, though. Goes right on through. Pharaoh Mummy Walls are up. Swift Slashes bounce around. A lot of creeps are there. But Pharaoh is picked off when it's all said and done. Silhouette, she splits out. She goes back to her other one. She has a nullifier play, by the way. She is doing plenty of damage. Swiftblade is dead. Comes right back up, though. Spin on top. Silhouette spinning, or, God, I'm all over the place. Ports once again. A lot of S's here. But she gets caught by Kraken. The charge hits her. Tempest with a follow-up stun. And Silhouette not going to survive much longer. She tries to purge herself away, but it doesn't happen. I think that was almost the all-in right there. Yeah, she bought that. Doesn't have a buyback. They're going to lose the bottom racks, and Sync could have very likely done it right there with that fight of taking Game 2 and thus taking the series right here. I mean, it just got uncontrollable as far as things were concerned. And again, that's got to be so frustrating, though, for Willowkeeper. Back-to-back games here. I mean, they had the early lead. It was even bigger in Game 1. Still, they had a solid lead here in Game 2. But it didn't work out in the end. And I don't know if there's necessarily any specific thing that they needed to do differently.
Exactly like Tree. They didn't play bad this game. Like, Zinc just arguably played better, and at the same time, the heroes, like, it almost feels there's nothing that Tree can actually do with the heroes they've got to beat Zinc. Obviously, maybe they could have had a bit more ganks, a bit more rotation, but they're still going to fight here. They're going to try and get some kind of team fight. If Pharaoh does go in.
Yeah, they're going to try to do a last stand right here because Dupont jumps in as well. Pharaoh does fall, but he probably knew that was going to happen. Just as about a matter of how many would he take with him. Cthulhu just leading them away from the base. but he ends up dying as well. But clearly Sync, they know they pretty much have this in the bag. They're going back in. Boo Boo in those front lines. Valkyrie gets held up by the Tempest. They're going to be stopped, but Valkyrie, will she actually survive this? Oh my god, she is. Never mind. Waltz ups, finish her off. Silhouette's like, I got this, don't worry. Goes up with the illusion. And looking to take out Waltz. Waltz has a Codex, by the way. Casey doing the troll cut, he uses it. Oh boy. And that's where you concede. Yeah. That's where you concede, if any. The Wild Soul Codex does him in. And GG, well played is called. So Sync Esports, though, takes it game 2 series. And thus they're going to be moving on to the grand finals yet again here. What is cycle number 3. So they're going to be in a comfortable spot. Again, as always, they will be up 1-0 in a best of 5, no matter which opponent they play. And speaking of that, that means they're either going to be playing the winner of Willowkeeper, who's now in the losers bracket finals, or Bad Monkey Gaming. And I'm excited for that one, too, mainly because BMG, when they matched up against,
strong.
Exactly. When they matched up the first time in Cycle 2, it was like Tree was able to take care of business and move on.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be kind of different here in Cycle 3.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, BMG looked really, really strong in the last matchup we saw. I mean, from their draft to their sort of strategy, and even their team fight and sort of team coordination as well. Everything just seemed on point for BMG. And I mean, yeah, Tree definitely handled business last cycle, but it's not going to be a walkover here tomorrow. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Actually, can't wait to see who will advance into the grand finals against Zinc.
That all kicks off at the usual time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 1800 Central European Time. Will be a best out of 3, of course, coming at you tomorrow in the loser bracket final. That followed up by, again, the grand finals. The winner of that will play Sync Esports, who once again will be up 1-0 in a best out of 5. So these 3 teams, we're down to 3 now. Over $32,000 prize pool on the line here. Now, who's going to get what is still left up in the air, but Sync Esports in a very good spot to take the 3rd cycle. But you know what? We were talking about this on the podcast, and one of many topics that we talked about in the recent podcast that we did. And one of it was no team has ever won more than 3 consecutive cycles in On Tour. So Sync, they win this one possibly, and they could obviously still have to play this whole one out. But even if they get a win here, it's going to be interesting, especially how that develops moving on forward. But again, this one isn't even finished yet, so I guess we won't get into that discussion even further until that actually happens, if it does happen. But that's going to do it, though, as far as coverage today. So, kind of unfortunate in the sense a pretty quicker game or series there in the winter bracket finals. But Sync, I think they're playing pretty on point right now and continue to do so. We talked about that, especially in Cycle 2 even, and they're just looking really, really good right now. So, anything else to say about today here in General Mini Maggot?
No, just obviously great games coming from Zinc. Obviously, their team fight and pushing sort of strategy seems almost unbeatable. But obviously, Tree they do have today or later today and tomorrow sort of think if they do beat BMG to take on obviously Zinc in the grand finals. Also, a quick shout. Obviously, Quint is most likely going to be streaming after this. You should definitely just head over there. I might even be joining him if he's got a co-cast. I might join him if not. And one final shout out actually. Shout out to Sender if you're watching. I would like to meet you in real life. It'd be quite interesting.